Hi everyone, good morning. It's Sherelle Rose Green, and I just want to share a testimony with you guys. I oftentimes heard people say they hear from God, and I was wondering how I can't hear from God. What did I do for why God is not talking to me? And I wanted to experience that so bad. So I remember when I was incarcerated, all right? I went to federal jail when the feds came and got me. About 10 federal agents come and got me. And they handcuffed me, put in the back of a police car. On my way to the police station, I started to cry because I'm like, God, I've just lost my mother. I lost my son from domestic violence. And now I'm incarcerated. I went upstairs, they fingerprint me, went upstairs and they put me to they direct me to my room, and I was on the top bunk, and you know I'm telling you guys, I lay on my bunk and tears was just falling down, and my pillow was soaked with tears. And while I was there, I heard this loud voice that says to me, everything is gonna be all right. And I'm like, what is that? I look around, didn't see anybody but my roommate. So I said to her, Kathy, did you say something to me? And she said, no. She said, you're getting crazy or something? And I'm like, no. I realized that was the voice of Jesus telling me that everything was going to be all right. It took me 15 years, but it did came through for me. What landed me in jail, guys, I spoke about it on my testimony from 2016, where I was on document. Been in the country for 36 years, I think. Yes, somewhere around that line. And my mom passed away, and I wanted so bad to see my mom for the last time. So someone gave me papers. So I used that papers, and when someone said to me, I'm not going to say the name, he says to me, you need to apply for a US passport, because I know somebody who went and they got through. So I went, and I applied for the US passport. Right after that, about a month later, I could hear my phone tapped. I could hear them on my phone. I could hear the phone open up. I could hear everything. And let me tell you, it was such a very frightening time for me, because I knew police was looking for me. Anyway, I was staying with someone, and then I dreamt that feds was looking for me. And I left where I was staying. And right after I left, the feds came and they were looking for me. I was in hiding for about a year. But one day, I heard the voice said to me, go back to your apartment, clean your house. And I did what the voice told me to do. I went to my house, and I washed my clothes, cleaned from the crevice to the corner. I cleaned my house spanking clean, squeaky clean. When I got back, I heard a loud knock. And I went to the door and I looked through the peephole. When I looked through the peephole, it was about 10 federal agents. And I realized that God wanted me to get caught. God wanted me to get caught, because under that negative and the chaos, there was a blessing. So they took me to jail. I did about 8 weeks in federal jail. Went to 8 weeks in federal jail, and then immigration came and got me, and I did 3 weeks in immigration jail. Everybody gets denied when they go in front of the judge for a bond. Everybody get denied. Remember, everybody have their papers. I didn't have my papers. I didn't have no green card. So one lady looked at me and said, "Oh, you expect to get bond when we have papers and we didn't get a bond?" I said, "Let me tell you something. Jesus told me that everything was going to be okay. He said that he is going to drop that charges. He is going to be my judge, my lawyer, my prosecutor, and he has the verdict in his hands and he has the final decision." They look at me like I was crazy. It was my time to go in front of the judge. When I go in front of the judge, it took the judge 5 minutes. And the judge said, "Bond is granted, $10,000. I went back upstairs and everybody was like, "I told you." I said, "Listen, I told you that I was going to get out." So everybody was there and there was like shocked. And I said, "You don't understand. Jesus is working on my case." All right. So I left, went home, and went to court. A month later, the judge gave me voluntary departure. I went home, I cried, I bawled, I passed out. I mean, my head was hurting. I lost a lot of weight. I was just going through so much in my life. I was going through pain and I was going through so much. And I went in the phone book and I called about 10 immigration attorney. They said there's nothing they could do for me. I closed the phone book and I cried. I cried my eyes out. Then I heard the voice says, "Open back that phone book." When I opened the phone book, it was, the first name I came across was Mitchell Cohen. I picked up my phone and I called. And I said, "I need help." He said, "What happened?" I said, "I was charged for false information in obtaining a U.S. passport." He says, "Come down, let me see your file and all that stuff." And when I went there, he says, "Well, there's nothing we can do, but let me ask you this. Have you ever been a victim of domestic violence?" I said, "Yes." I said, "I lost a son from domestic violence when I was 9 months pregnant. I was thrown in a brick wall and my placenta was ripped." He said, "Do you have document for that?" I said, "Yes." I said, "Broward General Hospital have all the details." And he says, "Okay, that you could get a waiver." So he filed a waiver for me. You get all the documents from the hospital, the police reports, and he filed a waiver for me. And he filed the waiver and I got the waiver. So they waived the charges. So he filed for a U visa for domestic violence. It's a long story, guys, but Jesus dropped the charges. I've been through many obstacles, many trials and tribulation, many things, but I never forget God. I never forget the prayer that my mother prayed. I never forget the prayer that my pastor prayed, Pastor Ina Ormsby. If it wasn't for that, I would be otherwise minded. I would be maybe prostituting or suicide or something. But I hold on to the teaching. So I just want folks to know that God is an on-time God. I know many of y'all out there with a similar situation. You're in a immigration situation or a domestic violence situation. But let me tell you this. The same God who came through for me is the same God that will come through for you too. I was in a mess. I fight deportation for 15 years. In the country undocumented for 30 years. People throw me out of their house. I walk the street of Sunrise with no place to go. I end up in an abandoned building with rats, moles, roaches with my little son. He was asthmatic. He has asthma. So it was very, very hard for us. But we fight together. Me and my son, we pray together. Sometimes I use my tears and I washed his face and I cry out to Jesus because I see my mother do it to my brother. When my brother was sick, my mother used her tears and washed his face. And my brother is okay today. So, the power of prayer and the power of faith do wonderful things. Alright? It does wonders. This girl has been through a lot. I got a lot of fights, lot of disgrace, lot of ridicules, lied on. But I'm still here. And I will never give up. I will never turn away from God. It doesn't matter what I did. I always have the God with me. Even when I was in the dance hall, when I was out there having sex, and I wasn't married, I never left God, and God still was talking to me. And that's why I tell you guys, don't watch people outside appearance. God can use a prostitute. He is not partial. So stop being partial. Alright? I'm a very, very powerful woman of God. I might not look it, but sometimes I remember God said to me, you are going to know things. And I'm like, me? I just had sex. How are you going to say I'm going to know things? And he says, yes, you are. Your voice, when you sing, souls are going to get saved. You're going to know things. And let me tell you something, people. When I vision things, it's best believe that's how it goes. And I know I get a lot of fight is because I was chosen. I am a chosen generation. So I smile at the enemy. I smile at the devil. I laugh at them because they cannot conquer you. You cannot be conquered by no one when you have God beside you. Again, I'm Cheryl Rose Green. From victim to victor and from deportation to documentation. Again, guys, I know you've been through a lot yourself, and some of you are contemplating suicide. Please have a change of heart. I see people commit suicide in front of their children. I'm pleading to y'all, turn to Jesus. Turn to Jesus. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard because I've been there. I've struggled. I've suffered. I've been through it all. I've been through ridicules. I've been through put down, let down, disgraced. But I'm still here. I'm a living testimony. 30 years with no papers. Fighting deportation for 15 years. Lost my son from domestic violence. Fighting for my life when the doctor gave me over. But I hear the voices. Behold, I'm with you always. I saw me in the coffin, but the Lord turned it around for my good. So I want you to stay strong. Be strong. Have faith. Pray for me. Pray with me. God bless you.